3 days later, Ethan sat alone in his office, a ghost in a graveyard of dreams. Cardboard boxes stacked like tombstones lined the walls. The desks, once buzzing with energy and bright ideas, now stood empty and silent. He stared at his phone, the dark screen reflecting his own hollow expression. He had hoped for a call, a text, any sign of a miracle to save his failing startup, but there was nothing. Just the deafening silence of failure. Then a sound broke the stillness. A soft, hesitant knock on the office door. Ethan looked up, startled. A woman stepped inside, her son clutching her hand. It was her, the same woman from the restaurant, the one he'd given his last dollar to. Ethan pushed himself to his feet, a wave of confusion washing over him. What was she doing here? "I hope I'm not intruding," she said, her voice gentle. "I've been looking for you," Ethan's mind raced. How did you find me?" he managed to ask, his own voice sounding foreign to his ears. She offered a shy, almost apologetic smile. "I went back to the restaurant and asked the manager. He remembered you. He said you owned a small startup downtown, so I took a chance." She reached into her purse, her movements deliberate. Her fingers retrieved a small, folded piece of paper, the dollar bill, his last dollar. She held it out to him. "I wanted to give this back," she said, her eyes meeting his. "Because of what you did. Someone else saw us that night." Ethan just stared, unable to process what was happening. A flicker of something he hadn't felt in a long time, curiosity, perhaps even hope, stirred within him. "A man," she continued, her voice gaining a little more strength. "He was also at the restaurant. He saw you give me the dollar. He followed us out. He paid for our dinner." Ethan blinked, the story unfolding like a scene from a movie. This couldn't be real. "But that's not all," she said, taking a small breath. "He owns a bakery just a few blocks from here. He told me he was looking for someone to help manage the counter. He offered me a job." Tears welled up in her eyes, but she blinked them back, a genuine, radiant smile breaking through. It was a smile of relief, of gratitude, of a future that had suddenly opened up before her. Ethan was speechless. He, a man who had just lost everything, had somehow, unknowingly, given this woman a new beginning. "He said something," she added, her voice now trembling with emotion. "He said he'd never seen someone give away their last dollar without a second thought. He told me it reminded him of the man he used to be before his business became successful. Before he forgot what it was like to struggle." She pushed the folded dollar bill closer to Ethan. "I don't think this belongs to me anymore," she said softly, but with conviction. "I think it belongs to you. It's your good luck charm." Ethan looked down at the dollar, then back at her face, at the little boy peeking out from behind her legs. He saw not just their gratitude, but a reflection of a part of himself he thought he'd lost, the part that could still make a difference, even with nothing left. He gently shook his head, a real smile touching his lips for the first time in what felt like an eternity. "Keep it," he said, his voice soft but firm. "Or better yet, pass it on. When you see someone else who needs it." The woman looked at the dollar in her hand, then back at Ethan. She understood. A silent promise passed between them. She nodded, her expression full of a deep, unspoken thanks. With another small smile, she and her son turned and walked out of the empty office, leaving the door slightly ajar. Ethan stood there for a long moment, the silence no longer feeling empty or oppressive. It was peaceful. He slowly sank back into his chair, the weight on his shoulders feeling significantly lighter. His company was gone. His money was gone. His dream, as he knew it, was over. But as he sat there, in the ruins of his professional life, he realized he hadn't lost everything. He had sparked a chain of kindness. His last dollar, an act born from his own rock bottom, had created a miracle, just not the one he was expecting. For the first time in weeks, Ethan leaned back and smiled. It was a genuine, heartfelt smile. He had failed, yes. But in a much more important way, he had succeeded beyond his wildest dreams. And that was a foundation he could build on again.